Here's the story, and it's actually really simple. Quote, some cities may run dry for a few days. A few days. I wonder what that means for you. How do you feel about not having gas for your truck for a few days? That sound fun? Diesel supplier warns businesses on the East Coast to prepare for diesel shortage after Russia cut off imports. The other day on this show, people were super chatting that the supply was down to like 20 or 19 days. It's still down. It's not improving. They are resupplying, but not as fast as we are consuming. So it is getting a little bit worrisome that our diesel supplies are the lowest point since like 2008. Have you guys, I just want to point this out too. Diesel supplies are at the lowest since 2008. Like more housing prices, mortgage rates, interest rates, like all of these things are starting to, we keep hearing like inflation is worse since as bad as it's been since 2008. You know, they keep saying that. And you guys remember what happened then, right?
In 2008?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we almost completely toppled the economy, except that we taxed everyone. I don't know, I think over the course of 20 years, they're going to pay out $20 trillion or something to pay off those banks from 2008. I don't know the exact numbers.
They say businesses which rely on the fuel have been told to take steps to plan for the potential lack of supply, which is mostly caused by Russia cutting off imports. This means that businesses are not receiving the high number of petroleum products they were before the invasion of Ukraine. The diesel shortage is also caused by high distillate demand, refinery maintenance, and lower refinery capacity. You know, it's a scary story, but let's be real. Democrats all have Teslas, so this isn't going to bother them at all, right? I mean, Pete Buttigieg, it was him, right? He told everyone to buy Tesla. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. Problem solved. Democrats don't got to worry about it. Midterm.
Yeah, AOC has one. She's probably really happy now. And what was that congresswoman that said that when gas prices were high, she was driving by her with her Tesla and celebrating that she didn't need to pay like the other peasants? What was her name? I forgot.
Oh yeah,
that woman's name. I'll look it up.
I don't know, but come on,
right
look, come on. What is, are you? So they're saying because of the diesel shortages, you're gonna experience a couple different things. Potentially, there may be some cities running dry in a certain sense, but they're going to prioritize this by having higher prices. So they may bring in fuel from other areas to supplement those that are running low and try and make sure there's kind of like a triage going on. So ultimately, the most likely scenario is just higher gas prices. It's not the end of the world. And besides, if you're really concerned about $5 a gallon gas, just buy a Tesla. It's only $60,000. So, problem solved right there.
On the low end, $160,000 if you want the high end, but
And that's reasonable for the average American, just to spend $160,000 on a car.
Might as well before inflation makes it, not valuable or anything,
What's that? Remember that Dan Aykroyd? I think it was Dan Aykroyd joke on SNL. He's like, inflation's great. Don't you want to smoke $100 cigars, wear a $5,000 suit, drive a $10,000 or what do you say, like $30,000 car or something? It was the 70s.
But also, just to continue this story on, there's a lot of other problems ahead of us, particularly because we're just entering right now the high demand season for diesel. And a lot of people use it for heat. And so far, we had a mild fall. We're entering into a mild winter. But if winter gets severe, a lot of people are going to be using diesel, needing it to heat their homes. A lot of the country, a lot of the trucks, a lot of the farming, a lot of the infrastructure is run on diesel. So with the refineries and imports slowing down and the demand increasing, yes, the price is going to go up dramatically from here, and hopefully we could avoid an utter tragedy from unfolding here. But this is this year's problem. It's expected to get worse the second year, the third year, as of course, this is something that isn't going to be fixed anytime soon, as the conflict between Russia and the West has, of course, been escalating. And with those escalations, there are consequences. This is one of them, a diesel shortage.
We had a super chat before the show started, so I just want to let everybody know, if you super chat before we go live, YouTube erases those super chats. But it was from someone named D. Lamb, who mentioned that the person who delivers, like, I guess heating oil, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was
said they can't guarantee the supply over the winter.
Yeah.
In the UK, we heard the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. The BBC is secretly preparing messages for when there's energy shortages, like blackouts or something. And they're saying that there may be rationing or shortages of fuel for heating people's homes in the winter.
Mind you, they said at the beginning of December, not only even to the Christmas holiday, so December.
Oh, yeah.
You can get like upside down planters pots, those clay pots, and then you cut a little hole in the top and you put candles inside of them. They create like heat.
Holds the heat and then makes like a little bit of the heat gets
like a
captured.
Radiator, and then you put like layers of them. So you put a larger planter on top of a smaller planter, and you can get a lot of ambient heat for if you don't have heat. And also, I don't know how important it is, but don't they use diesel to transport diesel?
Yes.
They use diesel trucks.
Yeah.
It's a compounding problem.
And
if we run out.
gasoline and basically everything. So if there's a shortage of diesel, it means you might not have eggnog or sour cream or whatever it is you're trying to get for the Christmas holidays.
Well, isn't that convenient, though? I mean, because we're saving the world right now. So you mentioned the candle and the pot stuff. I mean, that's just good for the environment anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about. We should be figuring
Isn't
out
that convenient, right?
how to survive. Next, you know what we should do? Let's look up how to catch rabbit. And then I learned this. I think who told us this? When you're eating rabbit, you got to make sure you crack the bones and get the fat out of the marrow because otherwise it's called rabbit starvation.
Yep.
They don't have enough fat in them, so you can't just eat rabbit. But with the bone marrow, you should be good.
Oh. Fatten them. It sounded like an element.
Fatten them?
Yeah, fatten them. What was I looking at? Oh, kerosene. A large segment of the world heats their homes with kerosene right now, and it causes massive lung problems because they're breathing in the black smoke. Oh. So I think candles might, on a if you scale it up, cause something like problem like that. You don't want to breathe in candle smoke. Especially though, people resorting to kerosene, it could be a big problem. You got to make sure things are ventilated.
Especially scented candles. You don't want those extra scents, the chemicals involved.
Bug anus.
I've been
It's one of my favorites, though.
I've been thinking about the policies of Joe Biden, the administration, Democrats, and what's all the fuss about? I'm not poor. It's the poor people who have to suffer under Democrats, and they voted for him. So I advocated to help people, but they get to reap what they sow, and then we can all sit back and sit atop our balconies drinking fine wine in the ivory tower, right? Luke's down for that.
I don't know about that. That's not really true. But I have a better idea. Why don't we just try serfdom? I think that's going to really help the planet, and we might as well just serve the monarchy and the ruling elites and just base our lives on providing for them. I think that's a better idea.
That's a really nice idea.
It's a good point, though. But think about this, right? What's going to happen to your average company when the economy completely collapses? The people are going to have no choice but to become serfs, right? Like if you own the company, you basically become an oligarch. So the economy collapses, there's no resources, and then all of the working poors come to you and say, "Please help us." And then you go, "Oh, the poors want my food." And as long as you're hanging out with Democrats, they got a plan for this, I'd imagine, because they're the ones who made this all possible.
I love that the pores has made its way back into the cultural conversation.
Yeah. Elon Musk is going to give the pores access to verification.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were in a transition because didn't Biden say that the gas shortage was part of the transition at some point, like a few months ago?
Yep.
Yeah. So is it on purpose? Is it not on purpose? I don't know.
To get serious with it, and I can't believe people voted for this. And there's a certain point where I understand the people who are watching and listening to the show like this, you didn't vote for it. You voted against it. You voted to protect yourselves. You voted for protecting the lives of your family, your friends, and making the world better. And then the Democrat voters who voted in the Biden administration, other Democrats, voted on hatred with no real plan, a man who's not all there, and it's just making everything substantially worse. And the scary thing is they're going to vote for Fetterman. They're going to vote for more of these Democrats despite, this is fascinating. I was reading this article on why we're going to see this red wave. Even in New York, where these safe Democrat areas are almost flipping Republican now. And they said, I think it was New York Times saying, you have Democrats right now campaigning on abortion and MAGA when crime is up like 40% and gas prices are through the roof. And Republicans are campaigning on these issues like, we're going to get your gas prices down and deal with crime. And the Democrats just say, but don't you want to abort your kids? And the people are like, I don't care. I'm hungry, dude. I need to drive my car. So now all of a sudden in New York, there's one poll showing Lee Zeldin is beating Hochul. We could have a Republican governor in New York.
So you're saying the country's not going to be voting for the Biden administration's policies because they support Dylan Mulvaney? You say Dylan Mulvaney is not as popular to galvanize the American public to make them support this administration and the amazing work they're doing in society while destroying everything else. Again, it's absolutely crazy what's happening here. And another aspect that we should really try to understand here is that the gas prices right now, the diesel prices right now are at a price with the government doing a lot of things behind the scenes, artificially trying to keep those prices down. Just a couple of weeks ago, Biden went to Saudi Arabia and literally begged the empire to produce produce more oil up until the midterm elections. Saudi Arabia said, nope, we're not going to be doing that. We're actually going to tell everyone your plan and screw you over, as you're pushing for, of course, a green revolution that it will essentially screw over Saudi Arabia in the long term. But again, what else is the government doing right now to keep these prices low? What are they going to be doing after the election when they don't care? That's going to be another big impact factor here when it comes to the price of gas and diesel going up.
I got to say, we're 1 week away from the actual midterm election day. Votes are already coming in. We just had the Libertarian candidate endorse the Republican in Arizona for Senate, which is crazy, Masters. And I kind of feel like whatever you think about 2018 and 2020 with the Democrats winning, you can only fool the people for so long. When you try to crank up gas prices, take away energy production, generally make things worse because you have some weird cult ideology about the world ending, eventually a regular person says, I'm done. I don't care. I just want cheap gas. So they can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. They can play whatever dirty games. They can riot. They can scream. And eventually someone just says, I can't pay gas. I'm voting for the other guy. We'll see. We'll see. You don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. But even Joe Rogan said the red wave that's coming is going to look like the elevator doors opening in The Shining. It's going to just flood through. And there are some projections. It may be substantially worse than even the projections are making it out, because what's happening is Real Clear Politics 538, they're tracking all these polls and they're like, look at this, Republicans are up 1 point. That predicts we're going to see, this many seats in Congress. Then you factor in that the pollsters are all completely wrong and they're off by like 7 to 13 points. And there's some scenarios 538's presented where Republicans can have like 260 seats in the House. Just absolutely chaotic. 56 seats in the Senate. I don't know about all that, but you tell me that diesel's running out, and I'd say, okay, you give me the day before the election, gas at $5 a gallon, and everyone is just being like, don't care, Republican. Just whoever is not in charge right now.
Yeah. It's funny because Biden said just the other day that that's how much gas was when he took office. He couldn't even remember that gas was actually half that price when he took office. So,
or he's lying.
Or he's lying. Or or he's off in Never Land. But I think that people are getting pushed to that point now where they voted just because they were sort of conditioned for 4 or 5 years to take whoever it was going to be on the other side. And now they're sort of facing the backlash of that, where you can't afford food and gas, the two, or a roof over your head, for crying out loud. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. We saw what happened in France when they added that tax on petrol, which increased the price by only like a dime or something. It was 2 years of riots, basically. Yeah. They have to understand that if they want to carry through their weird climate change agenda, Great Reset, whatever you want to call it, you put people homeless in the streets, and we're seeing more and more homeless people, and this is probably why. Eventually, you have just disorder and chaos. Are they hoping for this? Do they think that civilization is going to pull through when people don't have a place to live and they're starving? No, those people are going to get mad. They're going to smash windows and take stuff. I guess that's what they want.
Yep.
How do you look at those cities and vote for more of it? The conditions of it right now. The last time I was in San Francisco, you could smell the urine in the air. And it's gotten worse since.
I mean, New York's not too dissimilar. New York's sour milk?
Yep.
Like you walk through Midtown and you get a whiff of sour milk periodically.
And roasted nuts.
And roasted nuts, that's true too. It smells fantastic.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. But it's like it's back and forth. Sometimes urine, depending on where you are. But now we've got all the crazy subway crime. You see this stuff in New York City where people are getting pushed in front of trains. Some dude got stabbed. Kids are getting robbed. And the Democrats are campaigning on abortion.
I feel like cleaning the earth is something that we do when we're stabilized. Like if we're at war or in a state of chaos, we're just going to be doing what we need to do to survive and producing waste as the byproduct until we find a place of peace and stability where we can go back and clean up all the waste. Like waste management is very low on the real life living survival priority thing. So to cut out people's fuel supply and then expect us to like peacefully transition into a state of like green energy it doesn't logically transmute for me.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.